All right. Welcome. This is the Dayton Historical Commission meeting on October 10th. It's now 6:11. We're at Old Town Hall. This meeting is subject to revisions, additions prior to the meeting. The listings of matters are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, which may be discussed at the meeting. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. And it's so nice to have everybody here this time. So, I'm Jack Gales, I'm the chair.
Peter Karen, Selectman Liaison.
Robert Dalton, Vice Chair and Clerk.
Pat Olson.
Irene Alley.
I'm Shara Costa. Public. For now.
Dave Marvel.
And Zach Karen.
Okay, welcome everyone, and let's stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Next are our minutes. Does everyone have the minutes from August 8th? I just had a couple of corrections on those RAPA. Under number 10, it says copies of town annual reports. It says we now have, it's actually the Dayton Historical Society has a complete set. Thanks to Pat Olson for sorting out all those annual reports. And then on adjournment, Zach Karen motioned to adjourn and Irene Alley seconded. Did anyone else have any amendments on August? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of August 8th, 2023 as amended.
I'll make the motion to approve the August 8th minutes as amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, thank you. Now the minutes of September 12th, 2023. Does anyone have any amendments? Any changes? No. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of September 12th as 2023 as submitted.
I'll make the motion to approve the meeting minutes for September 12th as submitted.
Is there a second?
Aye. Second it. Very good, Irene. Aye.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, thank you. Those are done. So, and our FY 24 balance and budgets, our balance for FY 24 is $1,212 with the Mallard printing bill has been paid. And our encumbered balance is $260 with the CAI Technologies invoice that was paid. And our segregated school gift account is still at $5,683.34. So, does anyone have any questions? And we have no expenses for this month. Unfinished business. Rafa, do we have any changes for the time capsule?
No.
No. All right, I did reach out to Ron O'Connor, the chair of the library trustees, to be placed on their agenda to talk about the storage at the library. I haven't heard from him yet, so. Preserving memories of Dayton. I did talk with Mike Mullen, the town administrator, regarding the storage of the taped interviews that we want to do. So he's checking with the town's ID department to see what they would recommend as the best way to save that so that we have them. So I will be following up with him. And Zach, did you work on some forms?
Yes, so there's a few things that I found. So one of the forms that I found does have an example where the person can check off if they, so like I hereby waive any right I may have to inspect or approve prior to posting. So that's something that we have to decide if we want to include that or not. So are we going, I mean, if we decide, yes, we're gonna let them, that we don't have to include that line, but also about the time that that's gonna add on to it. So when the things are done and it's written or finalized being edited, we then have to send it to that person, wait for them to review it and approve it, and then get back to us to say it's okay. So every single example I found has a clause like that. So it wouldn't be unreasonable, I don't think, to include that. And I personally think, because a lot of these are pretty funny because they're like, you know, I waive the right to use my criminal background. So I think they're for a little more serious types of interviews than what we're doing. So it's almost for the kind of thing that if you're going to do this, obviously, if you're willing to be interviewed, obviously you're okay with it being out there.
Right.
As opposed to someone who's being interviewed for a police report or something. It's like, well, I don't want this public. I'll tell you to help you out with your crime, but I don't want to be involved in this. So, and a lot of them do include digital storage. So like they say things like, the recording may be saved indefinitely in the archives. A transcript of the recording may be saved indefinitely. Recordings and transcript created will become part of historical record. I think that's a big one because fast forward to 50 years from now, when people are trying to do the history of Dayton, will they be utilizing these if they still exist in the form that they are in for whatever historical reporting they want to do? So we obviously have to decide if that's something that we want to do. And there are options to check off, like, you know, yes, I want my name to be used. No, I don't want my name to be used. And all of them do say things, because Pat, when we met the other day, I was talking to you about the Fall River one. So the Fall River Voices is a book, it's an oral history book that was published for Fall River oral history. And there's a forward by the author who said that he made sure he had the right to go back and edit facts about what they said. So for example, if I'm interviewing you and you're recalling a time from when, oh yeah, I was a kid, I went to the market that was on Main Street. It's like, oh no, that was actually on Elm Street. He would have to go in and edit that, even though she didn't say Elm Street, but what she said was incorrect. It wasn't on Main Street, it was on Elm Street. So therefore you have to make sure that that person signs that they have the right to edit what you say in the context of historical accuracy. So I wouldn't lie and say, oh, she never went to that market. I would just make sure that I would edit it and say that the street was wrong. So every one of them has examples where you can check off, like I have the right to quote, paraphrase, what was said and stuff like that. So we kind of all have to decide, what do we think we want? What kind of rights and what kind of.
The other thing I was thinking of too is like, so someone does a memory. Do we put it on channel 9 for people to see?
So we can.
Because that could be a public thing where they might push back, because I know we're trying to share this information.
Right, so
too.
I think in my opinion, what the best thing would be to do was check off when we decide how we're gonna do this, have a list of all the possible ways we could. Audio, like, so the person can check off audio only, video only, or check all boxes, all that apply. I'm okay for you to do it in print, I'm okay for you to do it on audio, I'm okay for you to do it in video. Or if they say, nope, I want just written, I don't want anything audio, I don't want anything video, but you can write down whatever I say, I just don't want audio or visual. So I think if we give them the option, and then if we look back and we have, you know what, out of these 20 interviews that we did or 10 interviews that we did, one person was okay with video. Well, then maybe we don't bother doing the video if only one person wanted to do the video. But if we have all these forms, and maybe 4 of them are okay with it, maybe we do some kind of mini series, so to speak, or have whatever you want to call it. So I think that might be, like, people might want to do this, but don't want to be on camera. So for example, I saw Janice Terry at Hannaford, and I didn't realize that she had grew up in Dayton. And that was not a name that we had talked about at the meetings of someone who we could possibly interview. And she had said, she gets that she has some health concerns going on, and she wasn't sure exactly when she'd be able to dedicate the time to do this. And I said, what we could do is I can just email you when we get this together. We can just email you the questions, and you can just email the answers back at your leisure. Like, we're not going to do a planned time. If it takes you a week to do it, it takes you a month to do it. So something like that, we wouldn't have a video, we wouldn't have an audio, we'd only have that in writing, which is fine. So, you know, we wouldn't want to say, oh, the only way for you to do this is to do it audio and visual. Because they might say, well, I don't want to do it then, and then we eliminate potential interview
Okay,
subjects.
be a lot of typing, if they want no audio or video, they want to just text.
So one thing that these have is like, I prohibit the use of audio recording for the purpose of the interview and for transcribing. So it's like, I'm okay with you recording this right now, as long as we are under the understanding that you will only use it to type up the interview. Don't post the audio clips of this, please.
Mhm,
And then, or someone's like, no, I'm okay, turn it into a podcast. I don't care if you turn this whole conversation into,
right.
and post it the way it is. Because that's the thing I was thinking too, is that, well, if they don't want to be audio, that's gonna be very hard to actually transcribe, which I mean, I don't mind doing, but that would be kind of hard to go back and remember everything that they said.
Yeah, then the other
So-
thing, if they don't want to like on channel 9 or YouTube. Would we give them like a thumb drive in return, say, here's a thumb drive of what you have for us? It's kind of hard. If they're sharing that with us, it should be shared to the public. I mean, that's what we're trying to define too.
Right, but what some people just might not feel comfortable being on
right.
camera, but like, I'll share my stories, I just don't like to be on camera. So
Right.
therefore, does that mean now we don't do them at all? It's like, no, they could have great stories. Why lose the chance to talk to them because they don't want to be on camera? Some
They
of
could
these
do
might
an
be-
audio and maybe put a thumbnail up there or something, their name.
Audio with an icon or.
Yeah, what a,
You know, we could figure something out that would
Right,
work. So to get back to the permission so that they can decide, they would check off. And also, I think it's important that we become the owners. It's like
yes.
our intellectual property.
Every single one has that, so
Yeah.
everyone does say that, you know, I understand that the blank society or the blank university will be the sole owner. And I no longer have any copyright to the work. A lot of them say that I have received nothing of value. So people are claiming that like they can come back and say, hey, you guys said you paid me $50 for this.
Right.
So like,
Okay.
we do want to, I mean, wouldn't think anyone would do, but the whole point of doing this is to, what they say, CYA.
You never know.
You know what I mean? I mean, especially with something, being an official town board, we do have to treat this with a little more seriousness than if we were just like the history club and, like, I wouldn't want, we wouldn't want to get the town into any trouble, obviously. So I think we should not assume bad will, I mean it that way, but just assume that, we don't want there to be any room for error when it comes to that kind of stuff.
So when I talked with Mike, he also agreed that a release form was necessary to do.
Yep.
And as we're talking here, it may be something that he would review
I was.
and maybe even the legal department.
That's one thing I was gonna ask, is that
Yeah.
if we should, I thought when we have officially what we want, I think we should definitely send it to Mike to make sure. It didn't occur to me about the whole legal aspect, but I mean,
I mean, it
Yeah.
just something you said made me think of that, but certainly, yeah.
were they charged as far as legal for looking at it, or is that part of the service?
No, they charge us.
They will charge us?
I mean, it might
What
be,
do they get for an hour, you think? For 100?
No, $300 some odd dollars an hour,
yeah,
I mean,
but it would be part of the selectmen's budget.
Okay.
They wouldn't charge you.
Oh, okay. So we can still do it. Okay.
so, but I think we should start with definitely put it together and then we approve it and then also have Mike's approval
Right.
and see what his recommendation is to do.
okay. So, do you want me to take aspects of these and then compile one officially for us?
Yeah, so I think we have the components for them to check. Definitely the intellectual property piece of it.
Okay.
Um,
Should I include the part about giving them the right to inspect it beforehand? Or do you want to give the person that option to do that before we do anything with it?
It's gonna slow you down.
That's how I feel too.
I think we just fly with it.
I can understand if you were like a whistleblower for a big company and you're like, I want to see this before you put this out there, but like, I mean, we're talking about people walking down and going to the farm on the weekends. It's like, well, what are we gonna, we're not trying to slander people by doing this, you know what I mean? So-
I think we just skip that step.
So don't include it at all?
No,
Oh,
they
oh,
have the option to look at it.
So, but do you want me to say that, do you want me to put in, I waive the right for reviewing? Or don't even mention that at all?
I let the attorney put it in if he thinks it's necessary. I mean, if he thinks it should be in there,
Okay,
but I wouldn't put it in,
okay,
Might make them think twice, right?
right?
Yeah, I wouldn't, yeah. It might defeat your whole purpose.
and then I will include the options, should I include the part about I have received nothing of value?
Yes.
Okay. And then we'll check off what platforms are you okay? Like, are you okay with this being audio, visual, just in print only?
Mhm.
And I'll definitely include a part where I authorize audio recording for the purposes, in case they're, because I would have to audio record them to transcribe it, or we would. There's no way you can
Right.
transcribe it without it.
No.
I don't think unless you were a court reporter and that was your skill, your career, being able to shorthand like that, then other than that, you would have to be able to go back and listen to it.
Yeah.
But we would want to make sure that they're okay with that. So we'd have to either, say that you can record it, but when you're done, delete it.
Hmm.
Or like don't post it. So we should probably include something along those lines too.
Okay.
Is there anything else you guys think that we should include for this?
But holograms.
Years from now, you're talking to a dead person.
I don't have the equipment to turn it into a hologram.
Yeah, AI, the big.
Star Trek.
Like one of those, you have the right to develop, produce, distribute, advertise. I mean, we're not gonna be using their work to advertise anything per se.
No.
Well, they're gonna be immortal once they donate
Their memories will be immortal.
exactly. They'll never be forgotten.
Okay. And then do you want me to have this for the next meeting, or do you want me to do it before that and email it to everybody so we can get the ball rolling on?
If you could put it together, then everyone can have a chance to review it for the next meeting, and then we can,
Okay.
make any changes that we need,
Okay,
or, go from there, so we can vote on it in November.
sure.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else on the preserving memories? That I did find a couple of books through the library that I ordered on oral histories, so
Probably the same as I found too.
probably, did you order them?
No, I know, I saw them on Amazon, but I didn't order them now.
I saw it on Amazon and I saw the price on it. I said, I'm not buying that.
On the sales library website had a lot of ebooks
There
on
was
oral history.
two, there was, oh, be quiet. There was one on the oral history. It was on the Boston Public Library website.
Yep.
Barbara Summers, I think
Yes.
her name
Yep,
was.
I've seen that one.
That one, and then there was one by David Ritchie. I think his
Yes,
name
yep, I
was.
saw those
So
too, yeah.
I was able to get those through the,
Oh, good.
network. So, okay. Well, slowly we go, and I'll follow up with Mike on the IT piece of it too.
Okay.
See where we're at on that. America's 200, and does anyone have anything else they want to add for preserving memories? America's 250th anniversary. So the Board of Selectmen approved the town committee for America's 250th anniversary at their September 27th meeting. Mike, the town administrator, is working with our public relations firm on a press release for this. And I'm drafting a letter with Leanne and Mike to go out to the people that would be on the committees. So what they approved was, as we had discussed, the one member of the Historical Commission as designated by us, a member of the Historical Society designated by the Society of Town Historian, the Veterans Agent or Designee, a member of the Dayton Community Church as designated by the church, a member of the Board of Selectmen as designated by the board, a member of the local reenactors, Minutemen as designated by the group, one town department head to be named by the Board of Selectmen, and 3 at-large community members to be appointed by the Board of Selectmen. So because it's a town committee, all the members would have to be sworn in by the town clerk. And then all meetings would be posted. And the theme would be power of place. To see how Dayton connects to the Revolutionary era. So it kind of gives us a whole lot, a lot to work with. So we're working on the letter. So I guess for us, that in November, we can think about who we would like to have to be the designee on that committee. So we don't have to decide tonight. If you're interested, great. And we'll go from there. Anybody have any questions? Okay. I know there's a couple of websites out there, America's 250. And I forget the other one, Mass Revolution 250, I think it's the
Oh, and that's,
Massachusetts one.
that's what I sent you if you want. to pull
Yeah,
up the-
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to do that now?
Yeah, sure. So this is from the state of Ohio, not specific, it's the state
Okay.
put together for their towns.
I
So,
get rid of that and
You go into that folder again?
right there.
yep,
Yeah.
and then just click on double click on that right there.
Okay,
So this is it's a PDF brochure that the state of Ohio put together to advertise the 250th. And it's just different ways that their communities can get involved.
Is that a PowerPoint you got up there?
It's a PDF.
Oh,
document.
PDF, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it talks about, so that's all the people that would be on it, that's all the people that are on the Ohio State Commission.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a,
the letter from the co-chairs.
yeah, I didn't see anything from Massachusetts specifically, doesn't mean it's not out there,
They do
but-
have Massachusetts does have the website, it's Revolution 250, but it's not as comprehensive as this item from what I found so far.
right, okay. So, it just talks about different events that they could do and like aspects to the state that contributes, like Pat, like you were saying, what role did Ohio play?
Okay,
Um,
yeah. Tourism,
Because one thing we have to think about is that there aren't a lot of states that are gonna be involved. Because
right,
the more west you go,
right.
they weren't states before, they weren't. Because in my head, I was like, Ohio, I'm like, when did Ohio become a state? Were they a state during the revolution? Like
But they could still celebrate it.
right, but what, so like if you slope one more, I think slope a little bit.
The other way?
Yep. I just saw one that had sites, right? It's a 250 a site, so on the bottom left of that page. So like it talks about, so they found 250 sites in the state of Ohio, not one for each year, but that's kind of how they were,
Right.
for like that are related to, the revolution.
They are gonna have families that are connected to the revolution. Because there were people that left this area after the war and went west. Some, I know for a fact that quite a few went up to upper state New York. So they are gonna have those kinds of connections to the Revolutionary era. So this kind of looks at it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Fort Lawrence is their most revolutionary place.
Constructed 1778.
Ohio became a
Continental
state in
Continental military
1803, if you
installation.
care.
1803.
March 1st, 1803.
Was it a territory before then?
Don't ask me that. I just asked when would it have started? And I can only Google so much. I'm sorry.
Look at that last paragraph. Look, they had a tough time too. Extreme cold winter of 1778, 1779, lack of supplies. And constant Indian attacks. Wow. That was great when you pulled up. That's good.
Yeah. I found it by accident too. I don't know how I found it, but.
Yeah, because George Washington was in the other military campaign, so they have connections.
Mm.
They had a fort there, so Fort Lawrence was a fort that was abandoned in 1779.
Wow.
So that's
Well, wouldn't
interesting.
the British have been coming down through Canada and everything? So they probably had like outposts that,
I don't know, because before that was the French and Indian War.
We don't care.
I guess we have to bone up on that part of the history.
Yeah.
that isn't
Irrelevant.
history that I'm involved in.
So if you're looking for this, you just have to Google America 250 Ohio report.
That's the person that came up. And I'm sure by now there's probably even other
Yeah.
states too that have them.
That's pretty interesting though. Okay, thank you.
Very good.
All right. Um. So it's anticipated that really the committee won't be organized until, to meet until at least January. You know, realistically, by the time you get the members of the group. So if you know anyone for the 3 at-large community positions that would be open, certainly discuss it with them and
Just any resident of town,
and yeah,
whether they're on a board or not.
right, right. Yep. Yep, it's at-large community members, because there are a lot of people out there that have huge knowledge of that aren't involved with us or the society, but they have this huge amount of information.
Yeah.
Kind of like how we found you, who
Yeah.
you had, you know, the interest, so. Okay, so we'll continue working on that. Does anyone have any questions about it? Okay, James Briggs Garden sign is up.
Sorry.
It's installed.
Okay.
Tom Ferry, so thanks to Tom Ferry and the members of his highway department. It's at the edge of the parking lot. It looks pretty good, so that mission is accomplished.
I went by and I'm like, ooh, it's up.
Check it off the list. Helen Lane's map is here at Town Hall. Jim Aguirre has it, and I chatted with him, and he's gonna clear it with the powers that be to maybe hang it over on that wall, near the other Dayton map as a comparison. So I guess he's either gonna check with you guys, Peter, and with Mike, you know,
Right.
to approve that. So, but it's now here. I know Jim's on vacation this week,
Right.
so it won't get done. But that'll be hung and that'll be done.
Yeah.
Good.
And I let the gentleman know at Riverside and that we were very pleased.
Oh, good, good. Yeah, they did an excellent job. Yep. They always do.
Oh, I know. I
Always.
just had a piece done. It's over the top.
All right, moving on to preservation planning. The area forms for the brick area in South Dayton. Do we want to submit these to the Mass Historical Commission for consideration for eligibility as a National Register District? That's my question. So the criteria is for the combination of both historic significance and age and integrity. And that the property has to be at least 50 years old. And the question is, does that area still look much the same as it did in the past? And you also have to consider the Secretary of Interior standards. Both those forms have a eligibility form that Stacy filled out for it, that she thought it was worthy of consideration. So I guess we have to decide if we just want to send it along to Ben Haley at the Mass Historical Commission and see what he says or not. So input.
I mean, after looking at them, I feel like the South Dayton one probably has the best chance of being accepted,
Mhm.
just by looking at the number of properties and how they look.
Okay,
I mean, I'm not saying I'm opposed to submitting both of them. I'm just, especially after thinking about how the Four Corners got rejected.
yeah,
The only thing about brick one is that it has a church in it, which might be a plus.
mhm.
The Four Corners had a church.
That's
and
right.
two churches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
Double plus.
So, but one of them was restored too much, right? No,
The siding on it or
no,
something?
I guess no.
no,
So everything's original in this house, right? Pretty much, no big changes.
In the area forms?
Well, the one we're talking about,
Oh, no, it's for the area, the brick area, which is on
Center Street.
Center Street.
okay,
It's kind of like where Pine Street comes out, the church there,
Jack Crawford's house.
Jack Prophet's house.
oh, okay.
There's the cemeteries there.
Just looking at to the, like, I did, the brick area has a house in it that was built in 2003.
Yeah, that's like a non-contributing house.
It wouldn't be
because,
considering.
I call it non-contributing because it's planted there. And in order to get the cemetery into the District 2.
Yep.
They had to include listing that there. My
Okay.
opinion is we put them both in.
Oh, definitely.
And they say yes or no, and then the question is decided and we can go on from there, what are the reasons? I think any of the districts that we put in are gonna have a struggle because of the integrity piece, of the way that they look. Until today, I sent you an email like late that I looked at that they changed some of the criteria. And they have a new bulletin out. The National Park Service has a new preservation brief on substitute materials. So I looked at it real quick. So it's preservation brief. It's like 24 pages long. And it talks about the use of substitute materials on historic building exteriors. So I don't know if this is in our favor or not, it complements, the guidance and the Secretary of the Interior standards. So,
Doesn't cost anything to submit, right?
no,
So
I have
then,
to write them a letter and send them the forms.
so then at that point, it won't hurt to submit any of them.
Right. And it'll answer the question and we'll know where we stand and what kind of work we have to do. Yeah. Rafa, do you have an opinion?
No.
I'd say try it again. I mean, what's the worst they could do?
The worst thing gonna happen is I know, like, if it costs $100 each time, like, well, maybe
Yeah.
we should think about which ones we're gonna submit if cost was a factor, but seeing that it's not,
Okay,
I don't see why not.
all right, so I'll write a similar letter to Ben and have him and send both the forms.
Keep trying and trying and trying, don't succeed.
Right,
Persistence.
right, and so they might get tired of hearing from us.
All right, tell them yes, guys.
Wakes up in a happy mood.
Yeah, I'm gonna let this.
So we'll try again, okay. I kind of felt that we should do that, but I didn't want to make the decision on my own. So, thank you. The Carnegie Building as a individual nomination eligibility for the National Register. It too, even though it was in the district as the lower four corners, it was also had its own eligibility as a single building for eligibility for consideration form. So again, I reached out to Ron O'Connor to discuss this with the trustees because the building is still under their purview. But we'll probably have to also talk to the Board of Selectmen and the building inspector about that because it is a town building. It will need, if it's an individual building, they need interior pictures of the building to show any, and also notes and any modifications of it changes over the years. In essence, that building, the main floor is the same as it was when it was built. It never really changed. Yes, they did do down in the lower level where they had put the children's room and the teen room and stuff,
They didn't change anything.
but they didn't
Put that
change
there.
anything. The structure is the same. And of course, there's the attic and nothing was ever done with the attic. The layout of the building is the exact same as it was. So, that's where that would stand. Thoughts on that one?
I mean, like I mentioned the other day when we were talking about it, I feel like on the architectural aspect alone, considering it's a Carnegie Library and there probably aren't many of those left. I would think that alone would fit that piece, you know, like, does the historical significance in terms of events of history that happened there?
Mhm.
Probably not, but if architecture is a big thing that they consider, then I would think if it's been deemed a Carnegie Library, then I would say that should definitely hold some weight in terms of it qualifying.
I think it probably has historical significance because it served the town of Dayton for so long, since 1912. It opened in 1912. It was built in 1911. So it had served as the library.
It always has, right?
Right,
Yes.
So,
right.
You say pictures are needed, you mean like photograph?
Graphs, yeah.
I mean, how's the inside? Is it in good shape or is it boxes
yeah,
all
is
over
it,
the
is it
place?
presentable?
Yeah,
That's why we'd have to talk to
Brian, okay.
Ron and to Jim, I think, Jim Aguirre.
Because like you're saying, the pictures be better if it was all cleaned up where we can present.
Move boxes.
Yeah, if they're not heavy, we can move them.
And I do know that there's still books there, for the library because they can't store everything
Hmm.
in the trailer and
Yeah,
in the lower level.
because I remember when I was talking to Britt the other day, she says, oh, she had to just mention in passing, she had to go there to get something. So
Right.
the library people have still been going in and out. So it's not like it's been sitting there causing dust. I mean,
Right.
Right,
it's still being frequented by
Big
people.
Collection there.
Right.
Because they can't put everything in the
Right.
trailers.
Right.
They are still housing what originally was there.
right. So we can continue to have that discussion and, I can reach out to Jim and to the town administrator and then I guess consequently to you guys, and
Right.
the board of selectmen.
When the new library opens, they will not, the trustees will have no longer a need for that library. So it will come back to
As a town building.
as a
yeah.
town building.
Okay. You can keep working at that one. Our walking tour, probably should hold it in the spring.
Again, too cold.
Winter's coming quick.
It's like May 31st.
May 31st. I agree. That's kind of, you sure you don't want it June 30th in the summer? It'll be too hot for you then, Rafa.
I have a really horrible winter coming.
I hear, that's what I hear. So,
Had a weekend that's been decent.
No,
we have it. I think we would have gotten rained out on that.
especially on a Saturday.
What is it? Since June, there's only been 3 Saturdays that it hasn't rained.
Wow, really?
Wow. That's
Wow.
We're trying to get a quarter woodcut for the Arts Festival and we get the next 2 Saturdays. I don't think it's gonna happen.
So Pat had mentioned we were kind of like got ahead of ourselves in planning that walk, that we should have a pamphlet to discuss our 2 National Historic Districts. So I said, oh, yeah. So Rancid Drone had given me this from Wickford. And
You brought the same one. I saw.
Okay.
The same one, ton.
This is the one from Tom.
okay,
So it lists, a then and now picture. That idea is cutesy.
Yeah.
Because you have old postcards of the location
Yeah.
we're going to.
right,
And all we gotta do is take a new picture now, so. Then it lists all of your stops, so of just a small picture. This is it folds out, so it's bigger than an 8.5 by 11,
yeah,
because I couldn't copy it on it. It's. I had to fold it over. I did make you a copy if you wanted
okay,
to think about, how you wanted to set ours up. So that's a copy you can have, but it's missing, of course, the last page. So it lists all their stops and it has a little picture. So, and a map. A map's important. You
right.
need a map of
Yeah.
what they're looking at so they can know number 1, number
Yeah.
2, number 3. But I thought this was adorable. And this is a 1 mile tour. Ours isn't even a half a mile, is it?
I don't think so.
Probably
It'll be the
Yeah.
fastest tour they've ever been on. But this is just so cute and it's
Yeah.
very well done. It's very well.
It
done.
is. So,
Did you go on the tour?
No,
Oh, I did.
No,
I bet-
I've always wanted to, but so I actually, last week, I actually did become a member of the museum.
Okay.
And the next tour they were having, I already did my schedule for work and I was working that Saturday, but
When you get a chance to go.
yeah, I definitely do.
Old Colony, you go down to the green, you tour the green and all the statues and the buildings around the green
Right.
of significance. And then you come back on the other side of the road.
Yeah.
We talk about more buildings that are,
Yeah,
it's very nice.
yeah.
Yeah, I've done it. It's nice. It's a nice walk. Yeah. So, this is great. And this is kind of, they do it more with pictures and numbers, and then they have their little, very small descriptions, so they're similar. I did talk with Leanne today, and Guildford, the public relations company that Dayton uses, could, if we give them the information, can organize it for us into a pamphlet. And the pictures and the
Do
information.
we pay for that service?
No,
No?
Really?
no.
Take advantage of the selectmen's budget as much as we can.
Oh, all right. We'll do that.
So, that's all we have to do is gather the pictures and information that we want, and actually,
Well, you have the information.
yep, I have the
Just need some
information.
pictures.
So we need some pictures, and we can use some of the pictures that come from Stacy's. Oh, no, they're not in there.
There's some online.
There's
some
some
online.
postcards. I have
There's
a
some postcards,
collection of
yeah.
postcards. That includes that area.
You have the one of the Eddie House? Yep, postcard, yeah, I found that one.
And also in the book that you had at your house, that I said I saw online, the bicentennial.
Yep.
There are pictures of some of the houses in there too. That are really good quality.
I have that book. The 1912 one.
Yeah.
Okay,
In fact, I already had them on my computer when I converted them into image format because it's a PDF online. So I just converted those pages into images.
all right,
So we can just set if the send them that file as the picture file. I'm sure that'd be easier
right,
for
because it'll
them.
be easier for them then to do a PDF.
Yeah, and if
Absolutely.
you want to do it before and after, I don't mind going out and taking pictures of the
Oh, okay.
and the current
You
state.
can do that.
Okay.
Don't ask twice. All right, yeah, and I have the information that we can write, to write it up, so, let's try to have something organized maybe for November.
Sure. In fact, it's even better to go out and take those pictures when the leaves are off the trees.
Right,
Because you can, especially if I know when I was doing this, for my own fun, there would be houses that were set kind of farther back in other towns. And there's a bunch of trees in front of them, so you can't really see it.
Yeah.
So I was intentionally waiting until even though it's colder to do it, but it's better because you can see more with the leaves off the trees, so.
Right. right, so, all right, we'll get that done. Anyone have anything else on our walking tour plans? That's good for now. Our community-wide survey update, Stacy's working on the final report and documents. And she's including she called it a robust National Register of Historic Places eligibility statement for the Mount Hope area. Which I think would be really marvelous if we could get that to be a National Register district.
That would be
area.
one heck of a tour too.
It was,
So there's so much, you would have to do a separate tour of just that location, 'cause it's
yeah,
bigger and there's so much there.
right. She is also gonna finalize with CAI Technologies on the GIS site mapping. And she's gonna send us one invoice for the whole project. She hasn't invoiced anything yet, so. Can't wait for that piece to be done. All right, anyone have anything they want to add on the community-wide survey? Historical marker program, Rafa?
Okay, so, I checked all the information, the macros about the old town hall and everything's fine. So we have to make a motion to approve the application by the town of Dayton for a historical marker for the old town hall, which at that time used to be called Dayton Townhouse. Doing a motion?
Is there a motion?
Make the motion that we're putting the approving the application for the historical marker for the old town hall / townhouse.
second?
Second,
Aye.
Any discussion?
Any discussion on it?
No? Okay, everybody say aye,
Aye.
Aye.
all right, approved historical marker for the Old Town Hall. Woo-hoo. By the way, I contacted the historical maker
Yeah,
and I sent him an email October 5th. And I told him, you know, we're very interested, could you please make us a marker for the Old Town House? And no answer, so I called him this afternoon and he said he was gonna call me back at 3:15, but he never did. I think he's just very, very busy.
oh,
Yeah, Signorama, the name of the company based in Rainham. Yes, I'm gonna call him again tomorrow.
where in Rainham are they, do you know?
You know where all the autos
Yeah,
are, right? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
44?
yeah,
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 that area. Near Toyota, that whole area
Yeah,
right there,
yeah.
yeah. Very
Oh,
busy,
doesn't
area,
need a-
very dangerous too.
I think I've seen that.
yeah.
That's the sign for that company before, actually, now you mentioned it.
I mean, they're very nice, but they're so slow to respond. That's the problem.
It may take a personal visit.
Yeah, when once my shoulder is completely healed, because right now I'm driving with just one left arm.
Is that something Riverside Art can do, or do they not really do that kind of?
No,
No, they don't.
They don't.
No. Unless you guys know better, sign makers.
Has anyone ever been to the Somerset Historical Society? They're very nice people and it's a very nice thing. If you they have an Indian section to die for. If you're into Indians and arrowheads, I think he said something like 100,000 arrowheads there. No, it's incredible. It's incredible. Anyway, they're very nice people and they're going through the same thing we are because not only does he wear a historical society hat, but he's on the historical commission. And what are they working on but house markers? I said, ours are $1.25. How much are yours? They were like $65. I didn't ask him who his supplier was, and I did not see a sample. I showed him a picture of ours. I said, this is what ours looks like. It's, cranberry color, blah, blah, blah. I said, so he saw what ours looked like. But they're going through the same thing about getting people to want to put their home on the, to get a historical marker and do the
Right.
groundwork and
Mhm.
stuff. The guy's name is John, so if you ever have an opportunity on a Saturday morning when it's rainy and you have nothing better to do, and it's free, and if you want to go it's on High Street?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you go up the ramp, because there's several doors there and you'd wonder which door you want to go to. So if you go up the ramp, that brings you out into a main corridor. When you enter, it's just a big empty room. So I thought I was in the wrong place. I'm here to see the Historical Society and I'm in an empty room. So it's side rooms that are all done up. And some of them are to die for. He has a barn room, which is like a 1800s barn. So they put all wooden, like pine boards. Every piece of equipment is beautiful and clean and hangs with the same black wrought iron hanger.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you sit there and you go, oh my God, look at this. And that's just the barn room. So anything farm related ice when they used to, not fish for ice, when they used to harvest ice from the Taunton River.
Yeah.
But anything that's in the barn room. Then there's a kitchen from a different period.
Wow.
Then Somerset had a pottery section.
Right.
Called Pottersville.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, thus the Pottersville School. So there's a whole room on all Somerset pottery, some crocks, some whatever they have, some, broken pieces, but they talk
Right.
about who the potter was and different years it was in operation and a map of what Pottersville used to look like.
Yeah.
That's one whole room. Then there's a military room. And my father, I gave some exhibits for my father's, because he was a Somerset resident when he went to service. So there's uniforms and paperwork and pictures of servicemen. That's just in the military room. But the Indian room, you walk in and you go, are you kidding me? I mean, it's so nice. If you ever have the opportunity to go, the gentleman that I spoke to, his name is John, and he's the one doing the historical marker program, as well as he's Santa Claus at their Christmas party. I mean, he just,
Many hats.
exactly, they have a shortage of volunteers and he does so much. Plus he's still working full time, and his wife works at the Somerset Library. It's Mary Beth at the Somerset.
Oh, all right. I know who he is. Yeah,
Person.
yeah.
If you have an opportunity to go, I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Is it open on Saturday morning, you said?
Saturday mornings.
Oh, that's good to know.
Where's she located?
High Street in Somerset.
Okay,
If you had GPS it,
Somerset Historical
Yes.
Society.
yes.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, it's an old school. Oh, no
Yeah.
problem. I'm there every other week. They're just nice people and you learn something and you see something new every time you go, so.
Okay, I also, when I contacted Ron, I also contacted him regarding historical markers for Smith Hall and the Carnegie Building, so. Yeah, I had a whole list of questions for him. Next is exterior lighting fixtures for Smith Memorial Hall. At the last library building committee meeting, which was September 28th, the building inspector asked for our input on some exterior lighting for the hall and the parking. He was going to get some samples for us to consider before he went on vacation, but that didn't happen. So meanwhile, if you're interested in it, I just Googled exterior and parking lighting and shingle style buildings together, and they came up with, you know, some kinds of lights that kind of fit that era. So if you want to just take a peek at it and we can compare it, and then when Jim gets, you know, some samples for us to consider, I would imagine for November, then we can do that. It was kind of interesting. Some of them I liked. I said, oh, that looked nice on my house, even though it's not a shingle style house,
Yeah.
you know? So,
And would these be attached to the building?
no, I think they're for the parking lots. But I would think you'd want to get something that would follow the parking lots and the building so that they're the same.
Hmm.
At least I would. You know, that's just something that looks, you know, appropriate and historic for
Yeah.
for that building, so. All right, new business. We have a volunteer application from Shara Costa tonight, and I did send it along to everyone. So Shara, if you would like to welcome, first of all, and tell us a little bit about yourself and your interest in our historical commission.
Yeah, so I really started to get into the history of Dayton a little bit with through my grandfather's genealogy books. There's got to be about 30 books, if not more, so I haven't even gone through half. So I started to kind of get into like the history of the house, and it was actually my father's house is built in the 1800s, and it was the old Dighton Rock Dairy Farm on Elm Street. And so I started to kind of look through that and kind of learn a little bit about like the history, and I started to really actually get a lot of passion for the history of it, and then started to kind of with this new job and looking at a lot of the history and being able to research a lot of the things with, you know, from the 1930s, and, you know, just kind of get to see like all these different history of like these people that want to look in their genealogy, and it's really starting to interest me. And honestly, it'd be because I really want to learn a lot more about this community and the history of this community. And it'd be my honor to be part of this and to learn with you and be part of this venture. Yeah, I really, really am interested, and it's actually becoming more of a passion for me. And I would love to go through some of those books and maybe bring some in and show you guys like just like some of the 1800s, like the history,
absolutely.
stuff like that. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, oh my gosh, she has many.
What's your new job? You said you have a new job. Is it related to history or?
So I am the town clerk. And
Zach, you know
so,
that?
yeah. And so I do a lot with you know, a lot of the births, marriages, the deaths, and I've gotten a lot of public records requests, and some of those public records requests has a lot to do with they're really wanting to know their history, like, you know, and you know, their great grandfathers, their grandfathers, you know, marriage certificates and birth certificates, and, you know, kind of going down that line. And it's very interesting. I'm starting to go through a lot of the stuff in our vault and kind of start to organize it. And now I'm like, wow, it's so interesting to see what they have and like the coins and things like that to look at. And I was just like, I'm floored by it all. It's
Right.
very interesting. I love this part of the job. Yeah.
Well, cool.
When she said coins, what kind of coins?
Oh, the old coins that they used to, I guess have, there's.
Well,
like
there was some
3 of them.
coins that were donated. That's what, when she said that, there was a time capsule.
Mm,
And part of the time capsule that they uncovered in 1930 something.
yeah,
Okay, had some coins in it, and we're trying to find out what happened to the coins.
Okay, well,
So
I
I'm
have
wondering-
coins. Yeah, I can definitely, let you guys know what they are.
What else was with the coins? What did the write-up say?
I can't remember what the, and I
You get
just,
the newspaper article, don't
it's
you?
at my house, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll let it in, show, I'll show you. the
Maybe that's
newspaper
where they
article, Yeah,
In the vault.
could be, that makes sense.
We have a
Well, it
lot
does.
of, yeah.
That's why.
We found old, I don't even know what they're called, but they're the old pictures that you can kind of go through, but it's almost like on a film, but it's like pictures of like,
Oh,
I think
not
it's-
Kinescope, but
yeah, you can't copy or replicate it or anything like that, but we found old.
Almost like old film, right? That kind of,
Yeah, it's like the black, you know what I mean? Like you can kind of like put it up to the light and kind of see what it could be on there and, but I was just like,
You didn't come across any glass negatives, did you?
I didn't see any glass, but I can definitely, we have so many drawers to go through and organize and stuff like that, but I'll let you know. Yeah,
Good.
when I look through all the stuff to see what we have.
I'll just make us a list.
This is what we got. What would you guys?
Now, there was never a listing of what was in that vault? From
Not,
prior
not a
conflict?
listing, no, it was just kind of like.
surprised
I am
that
surprised.
no one, I know the technology is better to do that now, but I'm surprised there was no kind of inventory index or anything.
Yeah, there's no inventory list of what we have.
Wow.
That's one of the projects that we want to work on.
Surprised.
I find it interesting because I got involved in this because of genealogy,
Oh, yeah,
because I was doing my genealogy out in Wisconsin. And I come back here, so I'm gonna pay it forward. And it, like, as you start researching, so I was doing research for people.
Yeah.
You know, and you start learning about the history of the town. So it becomes, even though I grew up here, you know, and I knew
don't-
some of it, you don't know
Mm.
the details and the depth of the history that we have.
right.
You know, so it is exciting. It's a real huge rabbit hole is what it is.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, going through it with my dad, I was like, did you know? Did you know this?
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions for Shara? No?
no?
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to recommend to the Board of Selectmen that Shara be appointed to the Historical Commission.
I'll make the motion that we send Shari Costas a volunteer application to the Board of Selectmen.
I second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it. Well,
Thank you.
thank you.
Welcome
I'm really
aboard.
honored. I,
So
thank you.
we'll have a full board.
Yes.
Wow.
And I could be like, the voice, my team is full. Public input, we don't have any public besides Shara here. Do you have anything you want to add to? No?
Yeah,
Okay,
not yet.
so on the agenda, we said one open position, which will be filled upon the recommendation being approved by the Board of Selectmen. Our next meeting date is November 14th.
Wait, I need I need your signature, people. The certificate for Kevin.
Oh,
Clifford,
okay. Okay.
Just. All the members except you.
Now, what's the certificate?
Is a
for?
certificate for Kevin Clifford, the guy who built the James Springs. He's been a student.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, but that,
Right now.
Oh, we've already done that, once we talked about it.
Yeah, I thought we did too.
It's the,
Remember how we had it and I don't think Dave was here?
It was.
Was there,
I remember.
I think it was a meeting where we signed something and then we,
Yeah, what was that? I remember Dave wasn't here, so the question was, were we gonna sign his name?
right.
Oh, that was
No.
for,
That was the,
Mr. Tripp, I think.
yes.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm just gonna frame it and just send it to him. Maybe like what, person or FedEx? You have a budget for FedEx?
If
Should we do
you
it?
send the receipt and we'll,
Okay, will do.
okay.
Thank you. And that's-
So-
Is that Clifford from, Alex Clifford? Like,
I don't think so.
because the Clippers live on
Oh, no, no,
Sesame Street. It's not them, no.
No. I forgot what Kevin's doing now, though.
That was Alex, because Kevin was the youngest one, right?
Our next meeting date is November 14th. And just for your information, December 12th will be our December meeting. The next CPC meeting is October 19th at 5:30. And I did go to the one in September and there's no new applications for funding right now. And they're looking for a new representative from the housing and the Council on Aging, the Housing Authority. Under correspondence, I did finally get a response from Ben Haley about my letter about the lower four corners. And so what he says is regarding your comments about integrity, to be eligible for the National Register, something must retain integrity and underlined, be significant by meeting at least one of the National Register criteria. It cannot be one or the other. So personally, I think the state nationally, they're gonna lose a lot of history that way, but that's my opinion. But then he goes on to explain that it's a federal program. It possesses limited police power and thus listing not accompanied by design review requirements. If something, a single building, a district, or even a part of a district loses a substantial amount of integrity, it can be removed from the National Register. At present, the Mass Historic Commission staff do not have the time to work on removing listed properties in our state, but we are all aware of many listed properties that have either diminished or entirely lost integrity. And I also asked him about making the lower four corners area smaller. He said, if you wish to have a smaller area evaluated, please at least provide us with a map of the proposed area and any relevant recent inventory forms. To consider individual properties, the interior and exterior must be thoroughly documented and photographed, and this material should be included in a new or updated inventory form or be provided on the inventory continuation sheets to supplement existing information. Best wishes, Ben.
My only thought on that is that the word substantial is so subjective.
Yeah,
Like what one might
Where's
consider
the
substantive
line?
changes, like, it's like, oh, no, you changed the color, that's substantial. It's like,
Yeah.
is it? You know, like, that's like, I would hope either A, more than one person has input on what's substantial, or two, there is some kind of criteria as to like, okay, you can change the windowsill, but you can't change the door. You know, like I'm just spitballing, but like, you know, it's tough when something like that is who deems something as
Yeah.
substantial, you know, like.
right. Because I was driving through Berkeley the other day and they have their historic district signs up.
Go through today, yeah.
And I was kind of like looking at the houses while I was driving and I'm like, that's an old house. That's not an old house. That's.
I thought this, on the way here today, I drove through, I thought the same thing. The
Yeah.
same thing.
And I'm like, so where is, and I don't know when that became a district either,
Right,
No.
you know,
right.
but I do
True.
want to go over and ask that question because I'm kind of,
Is it really historic? Yeah.
Because
It's
if you
no
look
more-
at the district where it is, it's
Yeah.
on South Main Street.
right,
My parents' house, which is not anything belonging to any historical thing, is in that district.
right.
You know, it just,
So they have two, right? They have the Berkeley Common and then they have.
Berkeley Common.
It's the-
They have two districts, right?
It's just the one, it goes from like,
Oh, it's one big law, okay.
yeah,
Goes from Forney's Farm
right, down,
down to almost where the,
It's almost near the, where the solar farm is.
Yes.
Yeah,
those are the only two signs I know of.
right.
So I don't know what they consider the district. I don't think there's anything on North Main Street.
And I don't either.
It's just those two signs.
Yeah, so that encompasses, if you look there, I mean, there's gotta be 5 or 6 new homes in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there are historical homes, the church is there, but I was like, whoa.
On the
that's no-
common, there's
Yeah.
at least two historical homes, maybe three.
I think there's like, yeah,
And one thing too, in Berkeley, I
Berkeley
believe the
Common?
Berkeley Bridge area is a historic
the
district.
Dayton,
And that bridge isn't even there anymore.
the
So like,
Dayton Berkeley Bridge is listed as,
is it local? No.
no, it's because it was eligible, it's listed in the state register. As a district, and that's because it met the criteria at the time to become a district, but again. No one followed through on that recommendation. The district was eligible, so it is still listed in the state register.
Right.
What can happen is if they, like Ben was saying in his letter, that if they go out and evaluate it, they would certainly say it no
Where'd that
longer.
bridge go?
The bridge is there, yeah.
It's not even, you can't even say it resembles the old one. It's
Little park is no longer.
right, that too.
Right.
Yeah.
The house next to it, I don't know what that's considered historical. The house across the street that was Babbitt's, that's historical. And as you go down Berkeley Street a little bit, Mrs. Trzynski's
Right.
house is historical.
And that also, that bridge district included on the Dayton side,
Yeah.
Yeah,
the two Standish houses.
Mhm.
Was the wharf included?
I don't think so.
I don't.
At the landing right there, the town landing, that's right there. So yeah,
But I don't know what their criteria was for that. And I was gonna go to the Historical Society and they were only open on Tuesday.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm trying to, my grandmother's plaque is in there and I haven't, I can't.
oh, your grandmother's plaque is there?
So, from one of the genealogy books, my grandmother's plaque, which was Florence Kingsley. Apparently they did something with.
Oh,
And they have a little plaque with her name on it, but I haven't yet been able to like see it on a Tuesday
Yeah.
when, you know what I mean? I, one of these days for lunch, I'm gonna just take a ride over and just.
yeah,
It's
To see
something
if
that
it's
when
even still
places like that
there.
are only open during the weekday, during the,
Yeah.
like
It's only on.
during the week in the middle of the workday. It's like
Fast.
Everybody's working too.
Yeah.
a Saturday I get, most people are off on Saturday, but like in the middle of the week during the day, like not even like, an evening hour when people are off of work, but yeah.
it's hard because
But I
all
think-
of these things are run by
Volunteers,
That's
yeah,
fine.
I know, that's true. Yeah.
So one of these days I'll
Waterfield
go
is
by
very much
and
involved.
just to see if it's even.
I'm over there and I think of it, I'll take a picture.
Yeah.
All right, do we have any, Pat?
Are you thinking of putting Smith Hall as a National Historic Registered Building? And I'm asking because the changes that Jim Aguirre made with changing the number of columns on the outside, does that shoot that right down? Much like changing the number of windows in the, okay, so
yeah.
I'm just thinking, he's nice enough to tell you what he's doing, but is
He
he?
also, yeah, had agreed that that would be the best rather than trying to, but that's a good question.
Cause those columns couldn't be rebuilt.
That they couldn't be rebuilt, or the expense to rebuild them, I should say, is the problem.
Right, but
You
then
know,
that makes it so that, is that?
they're not going
significantly
back up.
changed?
But some of the, I was looking at some of the architecture qualifications and some of them did say it holds some weight if things are reused elsewhere in the building. That's why I mentioned it at that meeting, because I knew in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm pretty sure it help, I'm not saying it's enough to say you're good, but I know it helps if you like
Use it.
use it elsewhere for something else, yeah.
Yeah,
Did he save them?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
yeah. The plan is to put them, to reuse them someplace else,
Okay.
so.
Because some of them were salvageable and some of
Yeah.
them were not. And some were salvageable enough, but not to be used as a column again.
Right.
Yeah.
It's such a, it's such a hard line to walk it, because again, it's the affordability, just as our homeowners are facing when they're looking at the integrity of their homes and the cost of, well, if I'm gonna reshingle or clapboard it, or do I put vinyl siding on?
Windows, you
Or
want to use
windows.
Or even
energy
your
efficient
windows.
window, which
Yeah.
is down, because
I
it's
don't-
not original window.
I almost wish that when you make changes like this, you could submit reasons as to why. Like we did it because the building would be damaged if we don't. Versus, I just like the color blue. It's like, well, if you're changing it because you don't like how it looks, then why are you even trying to keep it historic? But if it's like, I changed the windowsill because there's air coming through where I had no choice but to replace it. Hopefully, I would think that they would consider that as to, well, so you weren't trying to change the characteristics of the building. You were trying to make it livable or usable still.
Right,
Preserve it.
Yeah.
right,
Right.
which is your ultimate goal, is to preserve. it.
Exactly, we're
Yeah,
trying to preserve it and have it still around, but whoops, can't use vinyl windows. Oh, okay.
So. I know that was a thought I had too, and I'm like, but is it more important that we have at least the three together that are the same? Rather than trying to tack up something that maybe would look like it and maybe
Right,
not,
right.
that, given what the budget is. So. I know we have to, things you think of. Anything else? Oh, great meeting tonight. So thank you, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Second.
No discussion?
No.
All in, let's go. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.